How you going, guys? Stephen here from Durafly with a fantastic new Spitfire from Durafly. It's the version 2 of the already popular Mk24 Spitfire. You would have seen this one before, but now it's back with a new colour scheme, and we've done a few little modifications as well. So now we'll go over to the studio and we'll show you the build. So we have the Durafly 1100mm Supermarine Spitfire Mk24 version 2 on the table. We're going to go through all the contents in the box, we're going to put it together, and we're going to take it for a fly. Now with all the parts unboxed on the table, you can see we have the fuselage. Up the front, we have the 35mm brushless outrunner motor. Inside the battery hatch, which comes with a fantastic magnet seal, just like the original one, is the pre-installed 45 amp Aerostar ESC, and also the two 9-gram servos that control the rudder and elevator. Now onto the wing. As you can see, it's a one-piece wing with all the decals and the paint already pre-applied. Inside, we have two 9-gram servos installed for the ailerons and also two 9-gram servos installed for the flaps. And as you can see, the flaps are an injection molded flap to give you that real split flap look with the Spitfire. And also we have the pre-installed electronic retracts and navigational lights on the wingtip. And if you flip it over, you can also see that all your servo connections are pre-labelled so you can quickly install them into your receiver. The tailplane comes in two sections with the spar, so you simply put it together and then there's two screws, so it's a complete bolt together construction. The 11-inch 5-bladed propeller, which comes fully built. All you need to do is basically make sure that the nylon nuts are nice and tight. Make sure you balance the propeller, it's a very important part with any aeroplane that you have. The individual packaged hardware, so inside each one of these is indicated for each control surface. The two-piece spinner to house your 5-bladed propeller, and these options here, which are your scale detail parts, which are the only parts you need to glue on the model. And to complete the build, you're going to need some tools, some glues, a transmitter, receiver, and of course you're going to need your device, because the manual comes as a PDF format, which you can find on the Files tab on the product listing. All right guys, let's get on with the build. So after you've flexed all your control surfaces, that way not to put too much pressure on your servos, and you've installed all of your control horns into your control surfaces, and you can see here the one's been installed on the rudder. And with the new version 2 Spitfire, you can see the ball link connection. It simply just screws through, and there's a nylon nut that sits on the other side of the screw to connect it all together. So also you can see there's a separate tail wheel, and to simply connect the two together, you loosen off the grub screws on the linkage stoppers and line them up, and then tighten it all up as you go. So you'd start at the tail wheel here, and then you would tighten up the servo horn inside the actual compartment up here. So now I'll attach the horizontal stabiliser in the main wing, and then I'll bind it to the transmitter, and we should be nearly finished the build. So guys, that completes the build of the Durafly version 2 Mk24 Spitfire. As you can see, we've glued on all the accessories, the propeller's on, I've got it bound to my orange radio. All the control surfaces and the CFG are all set up as per the manual. And speaking of the centre of gravity, it's roughly 60mm from the leading edge of the wing, which brings you just in front of that mark there, and the model balances out perfectly. And remember guys, you can fly this on both 4 and 3S. Now let's run through the specs of the aeroplane. The wingspan is of course 1100mm, which is just over 43 inches. The length is 980mm. The weight all up without the battery is 1200 grams or thereabouts. So inside the battery hatch up the front, you've got the 45 amp Aerostar ESC pushing a 3536 Aerostar 550 kV brushless outrunner, spinning an 11-inch 5-bladed scale propeller. Controlling the ailerons, rudder, elevator and flaps are 6 9-gram servos, and pre-installed you also have the electric retracts. So that's all the specs of the fantastic Durafly Spitfire. Now let's take it for a fly. So guys, that's the new version 2 Durafly 1100mm Spitfire Mk24 from Durafly. All right guys, all the links for the products are down below, and make sure you follow us on Instagram, YouTube and Facebook. I'm Stephen from HobbyKing. Until next time.